Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm Tesak, and last week I learned that 2 weeks of work might as well look like this. Well, not exactly. It's just how much I can show on YouTube. Let me elaborate further, but let's talk about Gems Defenders first. Gems Defenders is my story-driven match-free game with tower defense and RPG elements. I already prepared Steam page for it, so go ahead, check it out and wishlist it. It helps me a lot. Now, about the blank screen. Gems Defenders is pretty much done for the most part, but it still requires a lot of polishing. And I started with what I thought would be a rather straightforward process, and that's story. Over the last 2 weeks I completely reworked the story from scratch to the point that only time, place and characters stayed. And most of the characters experienced drastically different character development this time around. And at times to me not being able to show you anything for the last week, as beside the story there is nothing. I did nothing else. On the other hand, the game now has 50 levels total, separated into 3 chapters, and epilogue. That's 20 levels more than it was originally planned for the game. So anyway, let's talk about YouTube and game development, because it ties to this. Because these days, if you are an indie game developer, you are almost expected to have YouTube channel. And in reality, this thing doesn't really go that well together. You see, I'm really making videos that would be considered low effort and rather short format. On top of that, I'm realistically only making 1 video per week. And that's mainly because it's quite time-consuming job to do. And I mean it. I'm literally spending a whole day, sometimes even 2 days, just producing 1 devlog, and then at least 1 afternoon just sharing it around, checking all the stuff around it, and making sure everything went as planned. It means that YouTube is taking considerably huge portion of time from my ability to actually work on my games. And I'm small channel. I only have 73 subscribers, and I'm happy if one person just writes comments. Can't imagine I would have hundreds of subscribers and people commenting on my videos. The thing is, it's taking way more time than I just described. Let me elaborate. For quite some time I had this meme on my channel and that's placeholders. I literally had placeholders everywhere. And it's normal to use placeholders while developing games, mainly for the art, but as I'm making videos about the game development, I can't just show you a bunch of squares layered on top of another squares that are interacting with more squares, and maybe some of the squares are changing colors, with a bunch of text being spewed out of the console. That's just not making... It's just not gonna be a good video. Believe it or not, games during development does not really have that well-defined sprites, and even what I use and call placeholders is a rather high quality art in comparison. But once again, I really need to have something shown in the video, and preferably something new and relevant to the topic. Because of that, I choose to make my placeholders with way higher quality, so they can work as full-fledged sprites or textures instead. But it takes considerably more amount of time. Usually placeholders are objects that are taken in or created in seconds. My placeholders take from tens of minutes to sometimes even multiple hours to create. And yeah, it's true, I might reuse these placeholders later on and just turn them into the final sprite, but the investment of time is still way larger than using white rectangle and later on drawing the final sprite. Great point would be the naked enemies and heroes and the original grass background, which are sprites that I literally took from other games. From my other games. Don't get me wrong, I'm not stealing sprites, I'm reusing my old sprites that never made it out. The games were not taken from my other games, but I knew I won't be changing the sprites up until I'm happy with the colors, with the color palette and all the effects, so I made them more defined. I spent, maybe 5 hours designing the original gems, while I only literally took the heroes and the grass background and just copy-pasted it. And I just reworked it literally recently. Well, another great example would be weapons. Up until today, the auto crossbow is still a placeholder sprite, and I only recently redrawn majority of the weapons. You get the idea. I do this because I need to show something interesting on YouTube, and it would really look terrible if I had a bunch of white rectangles in the video instead. Don't even get me started about the animations, that's a completely different story. You can still consider the animations that are in the game, right now, placeholder. And thus YouTube is indirectly taking even more time from the game development. For example, right now I've been reworking story, which luckily isn't affected by the placeholderism, but it's another issue. because it's part of the game that I can't show on YouTube, as it wouldn't be fair to the people that will be actually playing the game. I'm not blaming YouTube, of course, mainly because I choose to do it this way. It's tough to get some attention in life for stuff that you are making. Some people get lucky and some don't. Some know how to make great content and some people are happy with scamming others with clickbaits and overhyping stuff. What I wanna say is, YouTube is not just about making videos for game developers. YouTube is about drawing attention to what they are making, to their games, because it helps. It helps to sell the game, but it's not only about selling the game, it's about sharing the game with the whole world. And YouTube is one of the few platforms that allows you to do it without spending money or without straight being banned. So back to the topic of making videos. I don't know how to make great videos, but I know how to make videos, so I'm making videos. About the clickbaits, no, I will never be doing clickbait thumbnails or titles because I just hate that. But hey, I think it's time to stop the rant. I thought I might as well show you a little bit of the darker side that comes with being an active creator on YouTube, as well as full-time game developer. And if I can't show you any of the work that I did on Gems Defenders last week, I just thought, hey, I will show you this. I hope you enjoyed it somehow and maybe you even learned something new. Either way, please like this video, check description for links to all my social media and games, including Gems Defenders. And thank you very much for watching and subscribing. And I will catch you next week. See ya!